Hello and welcome to the Car Care on a Chop, and welcome to this 2007 Toyota Tundra with a transmission problem. So this car came in the shop some time back for a diagnosis for some transmission issues. We looked into it. Long story short, we are replacing the transmission. And the reasons we are replacing the transmission is very interesting, and I think it'll be helpful for you. So let us talk about the transmission. Let us talk about this truck right after this. So let us first look at the transmission out of this truck. This is the A750 transmission. But wait a second, how does a Tundra has an A750? And to answer that, we will look under the hood in a little bit. This is, for lack of a better word, a very good transmission. I mean, it is very ironic that I am saying that and we're standing right next to it as we replace it. This truck only has like 108,000 miles. So you might be wondering what happened. What happened is, look at this roof rack. This is not your cool truck for the neighborhood to carry some furniture, some plywood for home. This is an actual construction truck. I mean, this truck have not had an easy life. It was constantly used as a company car and heavy towing, and just it's been through a lot. So 108,000 miles, I'll put them as 300,000 miles. And the biggest thing is this fluid has never been replaced in this transmission. And here we are. Let me talk to you briefly about how this diagnosis started when we found this transmission and why the decision was made to change this transmission. So the first concern was this had a severe torque converter shudder. I mean, something unbelievable. You drive at like 40 miles an hour, as soon as that torque converter locks up, the whole truck starts just shaking. It's very violent. And the other problem is, when it's cold, it does not want to engage right. And then as you drive it, it just doesn't shift right. You just punch sometimes, and all of a sudden it just engages, and sometimes it is smooth, sometimes it is not. And the other problem is, the oil pan is completely rusted out. It's actually started leaking from some spots because it's completely rotten. Bolts, forget about these bolts coming out. They're just welded there. There's actually nothing left of the bolt. So the discussion with the owners, because this is a company car, was, do we risk taking this trans out of the truck at the risk of many things breaking, which I'll show you in a bit, replace only the torque converter, drop the pan at the risk of destroying a lot of these bolts that we might not be able to resecure properly, replace the fluid, replace the transmission filter, and then hope that this holds and lasts. That was a huge risk that the owner actually did not want to take. They love this truck. It's been a great truck for them, and they want to keep it for some time. So being a company truck in business, you have to spend money to make money sometimes. So they decided, we're not going to take this risk, just put a new transmission and let's be done with it. We discussed options like a used transmission if they want to keep things economical. They did not want that, because their words were, we depend on this truck and we don't want to take chances of it having a lot of downtime. So they actually went with a brand new, actually not brand new, remanufactured Toyota transmission. Let me show you that transmission, the new one, because it looks very, very beautiful. And you can see this. Yeah, this is not a personal car, folks. This is a real construction truck. This is the new transmission. And Toyota does not ship their transmissions in a box. They ship it in this container. This is how they've always done it. All the reman transmissions come with a container like this. And would you look at this beautiful, beautiful sight? This is a remanufactured transmission, and the only reason they call it that is they take that old transmission, they use the case out of it to save you some money, because the case is very expensive on these, and if they reuse the old case, they saved you a lot. But everything inside of this transmission is actually brand new. All the clutches, the valve body is new, everything is pretty much brand new inside. And you notice something, in case you haven't seen this, and this applies possibly only to the States, in these exact words in the US, if you're an international viewer, you see this number, this R DOT, or R dot also called. This is the marker that this transmission has been replaced on this car with an original part and a new part, because the transmission will have a VIN number on it, so is the engine. When you get a replacement from the manufacturer, it'll actually have that R dot number, and it is a number there, so they can track it for theft and whatnot. This is a brand new transmission, and you notice the brand new torque converter, so that'll take care of our issues there. Doing a job on a truck like this is, of course, rusty land truck and a very rusty truck. There was a lot of casualties. It was just inevitable. Let me show you something under the hood and why this thing has the A750 before we lift it up and talk about some of the things that didn't go so well. First thing is, I've been noticing this has been bugging me all day long. It doesn't want to stay. Well, try to figure something out to make it stay, because it's really bothering me. Let me pop the hood, which easier said than done. The truck halfway up. The reason this truck has an A750, not the newer one, is because this has one of the best engines Toyota made. Did you know that in 2007, they actually put a UZ engine in this, 2UZ FE? Look at this beauty. This is the engine from the previous generation. They only did this for 1 year, and I feel like they couldn't keep the emission standard because this engine is old. This is basically the same one from the first generation Tundra. So they had to move on to the UR series engine, but this is such a great engine. It doesn't make a lot of power like the newer one does, but it's so reliable. The only thing you'll have with this is valve cover leaks and, timing belt and whatnot. But that's maintenance, not really big stuff. This is a much better engine than the UR. The UR is a great engine, but this is better, in my opinion. Let's lift this truck and let's look at some of the stuff that we had going on with this. So we can't really lift this truck higher than this. I feel like we have to duck, and Jose and Matthew are helping us film today. Be careful, because it's very low. The reason for that is we have that rack on top. Let's turn around and look at the first casualty that we had. So the bell housing bolts, you notice these are very nice and new bolts. And the reason for that is these two bolts broke. We actually drilled them out and got new ones. This is the back of the 2UZ. You can see the starter right here. That's where they used to put the starter. Very rusty block, because this is actually a cast iron block. And this is the problem, folks. When we do car reviews, and we were talking about this, me and Jose, the other day, I always tell you aluminum on steel components is a very bad idea, because aluminum and steel, under certain conditions, they'll have a chemical reaction, and you'll basically have dissimilar metal reaction, and they'll create this white powder that eventually locks things together. I mean, it literally welds itself. There is no way to get it out. And this being low, it's always being blasted with water and salt, and that's what basically destroyed these two bolts. They were just welded there. There's no getting them out. They snapped right away. The second concern we had with this car was, what's gonna break? If you notice, just look at this exhaust. I mean, the bolt is basically a bump away from falling off. And this is a challenge with trucks like this. I mean, we're already incurring a huge cost to replace the transmission and the labor and everything. You don't want to add more. If I take this exhaust, it'll never go back. That's just the reality of it. You notice this section has been replaced. It's all aftermarket, which I understand. They got to keep their costs within check for things like this that are going to wear down. But what I was happy about is we were able to remove this transmission without removing the exhaust. And the only way we were able to do that is we pulled the transfer case. Speaking of the transfer case, let me show you the transfer case outside. This is the transfer case for this truck. Notice how clean things are over here. That's the area where it sits between the trans and the engine. So the problem with this design is, you notice the trans mount is on the transfer case. So it's meant for you to remove the transmission and the transfer case together as a unit and then separate them outside. Well, you can't do that with the exhaust in the way. That's why they actually call for the exhaust to be removed. So here's what we did. We supported the transmission up, undid this, hand pulled the transfer case, which is actually extremely heavy. Guys helped a lot with this. And now we're going to assemble it the same way. We're going to put the trans in, have it supported with the trans jack, then hand install the transfer case. And then we're doing that to save the customer from basically replacing the entire exhaust. I mean, this exhaust is just almost gone, and taking it off, putting it back, it's just going to get destroyed. That is the problem with working on rusty cars like this. You have to kind of make these calls. We're going to deviate from the original plan, which it was designed, because you just can't keep, hey, the exhaust broke, let's just replace it. Well, that's massive cost to the customer that we don't want to incur. Now, the rest of the truck, it is rusty. The frame does have a few spots that are questionable, but overall, it's holding. So that was one of the things we looked at to make sure that if they're going to put this kind of money into this truck, is it worth it? Drives pretty good, other than the shutter and the transmission. Probably going to need tires in the front at some point. But the other thing they had with this was the charcoal canister. So again, I'm going to duck. So in my estimation, this truck had the fuel tank overfilled, because this is a new style charcoal canister. They're not common at all to have issues. They had issues with this charcoal canister in the past. They actually, if I remember correctly, they put a used one. Didn't work. And now we're going to replace that. And then we are replacing the rear shocks as well. They've always had issues with shocks with this truck. The owners told me, because they put a lot of heavy stuff in the back and the shocks wear out. And right now we have uneven shocks. So this one, I think, is an old original one. The other one's aftermarket. They wanted 2 new shocks that are original, so we weren't having issues. So that's what we're doing with this truck. Comment down below if you think this was a sensible approach. This thing is very expensive. I'll put some example of prices for you on the screen. This thing's pretty expensive, but this truck, even though it looks rough around the edges, actually it still serves them as a work truck. This is not a, somebody's toy truck or pride and joy. This is a work truck, and they really have used it as such. That's why it has so little miles, but it has a lot of use, because this was used as a truck properly. Before we wrap up this video, let me give you kind of an update. You see some of the cars in the background. Let me give you a little update of what's going on. This is an LS430, I believe in 2006, from Florida. Got driven here, and the owner went back. We did a lot of work, suspension, some odds and ends here and there. We had an electrical problem with one of the windows. We got that taken care of. This is a 99 Line Cruiser with a surprise. This is one that I will hopefully get started on here soon in the next week or two. This one has a blown head gasket. Not completely blown, but it is a leaking head gasket. And the way the owner caught it is very interesting. We'll talk more about this one, because we're planning to film this one. Because I think this is the 3rd or 4th UZ series engine that we tear down, that I tear down myself. So it'll be a very interesting video for that. This one is a 17 Highlander hybrid. This one is actually all done. I think we did an axle. The axle is on back order. It took an eternity to get it, but we got it. Something developing with these 17 Highlanders, and I have to say that while we're here, axles causing vibration, causing all kinds of problems. This is too early for axles. Usually, the car is 15, 20 years old when you have axle problems with Toyota, but these are having an active axle problem, hence why they're on back order. Then we have this RAV4, which are in progress to do VVTi gear. And the surprise on this one was the guide did not break. I mean, this one rattled so bad, but if you look at this guide, it loves to break on these. It's not broken. And something with this particular one that I wanted to, actually, conversation with the owner and information for you. The owner of this car switched the coolant from pink coolant to red coolant because they have heard a conversation of red coolant doesn't cause leaks, pink coolant does. Folks, that is not accurate, but I will say one thing. Folks will take the pink coolant to extremes. They'll go 150,000 miles. Don't do that, because that's not a good idea. That's when you're going to have leaks. And the second thing that happened with this radiator hose right here is super common to break right here on these RAV4s. But do you see a problem here? This is leaking very badly on this brand new hose. The reason for that is they put a worm clamp, and that worm clamp just mangled the hose in a way where it just leaked. It's leaking so bad that we're actually, I don't like to take chances with things like this. If we're gonna put our name on it, we're gonna do it properly. We're gonna replace the hose again, put proper clamps, we're done, no more leaks. But if you have a RAV4, this generation RAV4 with a 2AR and I believe the 2AZ as well, this plastic piece loves to break. This one right here loves to break on these as it gets brittle. If you're draining coolant or like you're just maintenance replacing the coolant and this is original, I would replace it if I were you, because we've been seeing a lot of these lately that just all of a sudden pop and all the coolant's gone. And then lastly, and we have a lot more cars outside, but this is what we have in the shop right now. This is the 88 Supra. You guys have seen this for a very long time. And this has been a project that overdue a little bit, but we are working on it. Actually, we are filming this one, the restoration of this one, but we had to stop because we, well, in case you see it always from the background, there is no engine here. And this engine bay really needs a good clean. We just want to figure out the engine. Apparently, 7M engines are, especially the non-turbo ones, are very hard to find used. And parts for them are becoming impossible to find. And the engine is at the machine shop right now. We're trying to salvage it. It has heavy cylinder wall damage, and I don't know. We're kind of at a standstill with this one, waiting for the machine shop to give us an answer. Their machine shop I work with is a really good one, but they're very, very busy. So basically, you get a hold of them, you got to keep calling for 2 weeks to get an answer. That's just how they are. They're very busy, but we'll give them their time as long as they do things right, which I know they do. I am okay with that, and the owner is a car as well. I really can't wait to get this done and driving so the owner can enjoy it. And we'll talk more about this because we do have a video going on this, but we're kind of waiting for parts. Folks, back to the Tundra. We're gonna get this thing together, get the new trans in. And just for your information on new transmissions, when they come in like this, they usually don't come filled with fluid, so you gotta add fluid. Usually the torque converter is actually empty, it doesn't have fluid. They test these, but I don't think they test them with the new torque converter. I think they test them with like a test torque converter, because most of them come with an empty torque converter, so you have to add a lot of fluid to fill it up and do. This is a dipstickless, like a sealed type. It's not sealed at all, it just doesn't have a dipstick. So comment down below if you think the owner of this car made the right choice, not taking a risk with the old transmission with all of its issues, and just going all out and taking care of the problem once and for all, and having this truck hopefully for more than 108,000 miles. But given the way they use it and the demand they demand from this truck, I don't think they are doing bad here. Folks, I hope this video was helpful, informative. I hope you learned something new. If you like it, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some of my other videos. And until the next video, folks, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day.